Good morning, friends. How are you guys doing today? It is Friday, although the weather's not looking so good, and that's how it's been lately, hasn't it? I'd like to read you a message explaining how Fridays are going to look from here on out until the end of school. So, this is for parents and students. The change after break. One consistent piece of information surfacing across the district is that teaching distance learning classes 5 days a week is a bit too much for all involved. Students, teachers, and parents struggle to keep up. Therefore, beginning this week, we are instituting a change that will help alleviate the stress many of you are feeling. On Fridays, teachers will not be providing any new assignments or have online classes in order to give everyone a chance to consolidate their learning and complete what they have been assigned during the week. It is designed and intended to be a catch-up day that will help students, parents, and staff close out the week on a positive note and be fresh and ready for school the next week. So that is how it's going to look from here on out. I miss you all very much. I would love to be in school and see your faces and have you guys playing on the playground, doing our motor breaks, and taking our 1,000-step walks. You're all doing a wonderful job. I just want to say that again. I miss you very much. We're going to just keep pushing through. You guys are going to remember this forever. You've been amazing. And we're going to get through this. Okay? So I'm going to read chapter 2 in the littles. Remember, it's a new one. They're going to find out what's going on with the trash tinies. I haven't really met them yet. So let's see what happens in chapter 2. We're talking about characters. We all know what characters are. Setting is where the story is taking place, and main idea what the chapter is mostly about. Mother, Daddy, come quickly. Everyone come. It was Lucy yelling. She ran into the apartment. Something terrible has happened to Uncle Nick. I knew it, Granny Little said. I knew that cat and mouse experiment wouldn't work. All the littles followed Lucy into the passageway. Aunt Lily stopped long enough to pick up her nurse's bag. Where is he, Lucy? Cried Mr. Little. Ooh. So there's the cat, and it looks like there's Uncle Nick on the ground, and Uncle Pete, and the nurse, and Tom, and Lucy. He's in the attic, said Lucy. Oh, Daddy, Uncle Nick is hurt really bad. I know it. They got to the attic. Tom was bending over Uncle Nick, who looked very pale. Hildy, the cat, was sitting nearby, licking her paw. The littles crowded around Uncle Nick. Stand back, everyone, said Aunt Lily. Give me room to look at him. He's hardly breathing, Tom said. Andy feels cold. Will Uncle Nick die? Whispered Lucy. Shh, said Mrs. Little. Nick is in shock, announced Aunt Lily. Will someone get a blanket or something to cover him? Tom, help me raise his feet. Aunt Lily looked around. Get the pencil over there, she pointed. We can put his feet on the pencil. In a few moments, Uncle Nick was covered and his feet were raised. He was mumbling. Uncle Pete! Uncle Pete! What's he saying? He's dazed, Aunt Lily said. He doesn't know what's going on. Later, after Uncle Nick was in bed, the apartment and in bed, Mr. Little had some questions. What happened, Tom? What's this about a cat and mouse experiment? We were trying to see if Hildy and Mus could be friends, said Tom. He shook his head. I guess they can't. Tell him what Hildy did, Tom, said Lucy. She just went cuckoo, Tom said. I couldn't stop her. She just went right after Mus, and I knew she would have killed him, but Uncle Nick jumped in between them. In between a cat and a mouse, said Uncle Pete. Tom nodded. Hildy was charging so fast she wouldn't be able to stop if she wanted to. And, said Mr. Little, she knocked Uncle Nick right over, Tom said. She stepped on him, I think. Oh, dear, said Mrs. Little. That heavy cat, oh, dear. He'll be all right, Uncle Pete said. Don't worry. It'll take more than that to hurt Nick. He looked around at everyone. Why, he spent 30 years fighting mice at the city dump. He's been chased, surrounded, and done for 100 times, and he's always come through. Why, one of those beasts even bit his tail off. He looked toward the bedroom where Uncle Nick was lying. He's had to wear a false tail. Just think of it. This was a cat, Peter, said Granny Little, not a mouse. I should have been able to stop Hildy, said Tom. It's my fault. That's not true, Tom, said Mr. Little. Your Uncle Nick is a grown man. He knew what he was doing when he stepped in front of Hildy. You can't blame yourself. It was his choice, Mr. Little went on, to save his mouse. He risked his life to save a mouse, said Uncle Pete. Can you imagine that? A mouse. A very special mouse, Mr. Little said. A mouse he had trained to find other mice. A soldier mouse that could take him safely in and out of the trash city in the town dump. A place, as you know, that is completely surrounded by enemy mice at all times. Mus Mus was comrade in arms, a companion, and a friend to Nick. He loves Mus Mus, Lucy said. Uncle Pete looked toward Uncle Nick's room. Here comes Lily, he said. Now we'll see how bad it is. Aunt Lily came into the room. She spoke in a hushed voice. He's going to be all right, she said. He's got bruises all over his body, but he's going to be all right. There's nothing broken, I think. I'm glad, said Mr. Little. Thank goodness, said Granny Little. But we do have a big problem, said Aunt Lily. She tiptoed back and closed the door to Uncle Nick's room. He was so badly scared, and he hurts all over so much, he's dying. Fiddlesticks, said Granny Little. He's a big baby. That's why he's making a fuss. Well, that may be true, said Aunt Lily, but it's still a problem. Nick thinks he's dying. He wants to see some of his friends from Trash City before he dies. He can't travel to the town dump in his condition, can he? Asked Mr. Little. Certainly not, Aunt Lily said. He must not be dying, but he has been badly bruised. Right now, he couldn't walk if he wanted to. Christmas is coming, said Mrs. Little. He misses his friends. We should send for them. They should come here. It would be the best Christmas present we could give him. There's a snowstorm, said Mr. Little. The storm will stop soon, won't it? Asked Mrs. Little. Aunt Lily turned to walk from the room. He's calling me, she said. Poor Lily, said Mrs. Little. She's been working so very hard on Christmas, and now this. Uncle Pete limped back and forth. If only there's some way we could get Nick's friends here to cheer him up. Suddenly, Tom leaped from his chair. I have it, he shouted. I have an idea. That was the end of chapter 2. So there was a lot of action going on. I think we all know what the action part scene was. When what? Yes, Uncle Nick. What happened to him? Not the mouse. Yes, the cat stepped on him. Good job, guys. I hope this message finds you well, and I'll be in touch with you on Monday. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and hopefully next week we'll see some sunshine. It's supposed to be warmer. Talk to you soon, guys. I miss you. Bye.